What's going on, Jake? Happy humid Sunday.
Yeah, it's the humidity. Um,
It's the humility.
yeah, I think we're getting I think we're getting a bad week of rain as the first week of off school. But I still got 2 more days of school, so we're here at the end of June, and we're also at the end of our production of the Turbo teaser, and we have our two screens here. We're doing lettering, right? So
That's what we're doing. We got 2 more pages to go. Um, if you, as a fan, have been trudging through these episodes, God bless you. You must be a true fan of the comic book making process because, this is all about us documenting the truth about making a comic and definitely the way Jake and I make them. So we do some edits lightly throughout the episodes, but for the most part, they are as is. So something for the history books. But you're on the last 2 pages, which in the teaser would be page 6 and 7. And once those are lettered, we will have a quasi final. It'd be like right before the final um, teaser to then be out there in the wild.
yeah, we are making a sci-fi comic, a post-apocalyptic story called Turbo Pit Fighter. Um, Pencils and inks are done for the first 6 pages, and we decided to put this out as a mini booklet, calling it a Turbo teaser. There is a lot of lettering on this page, I see. There's going to be a lot here to do, so let's jump right in. Um, yeah, this is mostly like 99% boredom, 1% panic when we realize, oh, I don't know what goes here. Like, where's the words for this? And we're trying, like, we kind of set this up a long time ago, but we're also, changing things on as we go, updating the language, making final decisions about like accents and spelling and syntax. Um, and I'm trying to get these things that seem like they fit in here. Oh, send this to back. Send the item to back, and then everything I bring in here will be in the front. So I'm just trying to make these things fit. I'm gonna take away the border. If you've been watching the last couple of episodes, we broke out the Quark Express. This is a page layout program, very powerful, professional grade page layout program that I used to use a hell of a lot, but now this whole white laptop I'm working on was literally under my couch for for a long time. I made myself a note: no system bold for the SF Comic Bold. So we're using SF Comic Bold, the name of the font. I had laid this all out perfectly using a font I found in the '90s called Comic Demi, and I can't find it anymore. I don't know. I don't know where it is. It must have been on an older laptop. It doesn't exist. So I found something. I downloaded a font, and it's called SF Wonder Comic, and there's regular and bold, and so we're using bold here. And the process that we're resuming from the last couple of weeks is we're making the lettering in a computer font, and then we're going to hand letter it over the computer, over the this. So and people might laugh at this process, but we are, we're doing a lot of work here. Only then to go letter it and do even more work. That might be a little OCD, but we both seem to agree on it. So I don't, I don't think it's just me.
Well,
Right.
we started this back in late 1999. And 2001, we had to divert our resources as creatives in other directions. But the main reason we're doing this is just to reconnect to our past and the process that we had. And of course, we're going to update as we go along with the 6 issues that we have laid out. You already have 15 pages paneled for issue 2. I have a lot of inks already on issue 1. So, we only do this every Sunday. So, and we're not working for anybody. We can do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yeah, here's an example of some of the pencils here that we've been laying out for issue 2. We're making a comic, and we're my mad genius idea is not just to make a comic, but to make a small publishing company. But with the time that we have allocated right now, we're just making one comic. We're basically making one comic, but we're planning, stuff for the future because I'll be retired in a couple of years. I'm trying to set up my retirement so that I have a lot of scripts ready to execute and a lot of stuff to print and letter and color. Maybe even do some work for other companies. And this is kind of like we're kind of at the end of the process of making comic pages here with the lettering, and this was pretty well thought out back in the day, and so we're just trying to shake off the cobwebs. But I promised Kurt that I was going to do a show and tell, so just for a second, look what I found. This old yellowing notebook I found, and it just had like sketches and notes and all that. And look what I found here. I found sketches for the van, schematics for the van.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then I had some like sketches for Turbo, and then I found the actual first first draft of laying out the pages with much different dialogue.
God.
And tonight's challenger from Yogi, weighing 40 stone and the age of 24. It's the Toro Czar. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. What the F do you want, lady? I wished I would have known you were the trophy tonight. I would have taken the gig. Ha, be real. You fight the samurai chieftain, please. No, I mean it. I think you're really something. You want to go back with him? He's better than the Toros are. Give me a break, lady. This fight is rigged anyway. I'm going home with the chieftain. It's all worked out. And besides, I would never be with a sleazy dyke like you anyway.
Wow.
So I distilled all this down.
Is something else.
Yeah, look at all these roughs, right? So this was like the first, maybe like the first time it just flowing off the pen. And so this is these are the pages that you've inked, right? Or maybe some of them you have. Yeah, maybe some of them you haven't got to, but
that's actually that stuff right there that's the second teaser right there. That's issue 2 of the teaser because that's pages 7 through.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Right. So this might not mean very much to people looking at it, like what are these lines? But in my mind, I was planning out like this is Turbo's carrying away the trophy. No, the bad guys are carrying away the trophy girl. I have some dialogue in here. Shasta, that crazy dyke's got balls. Looks like she's about to get it. I'm getting the hell away from here. And then she escapes into the tube. Um, and then look at this. This is I don't know. This is just a full page panel, and this wasn't used. Some of the stuff's a little bit undone. I had a lot more cursing. We're also, I don't think, going to be using the word dykes in this in the final thing, right? I think 20 years of progress in our civilization, and it might be, I don't know, it might be offensive, to some. I think Dykes use the word. I mean, sorry, but LGBT people use the word a lot more liberally than non-LGBT. Um, sometimes they're just joking. Sometimes they're talking in a voice of a bad person, of a offensive person, for satire. This looks like this looks like thumbnails. So I might have worked, yeah. So I worked out, look, this is page 1, 2, 3. This was in some part of the process working out the thumbnails ahead of time. But I just wanted to flip through this. It looks like it goes all the way to the end here.
That's fantastic.
And
Yeah, we
then
got to get some. We got to get some scans of these because they'll go in the collection when we finally get it all put together.
yeah,
This
I
will
mean,
be the
I don't know.
extra.
I don't know. I think this is the page I'm on now. Oh no, this is the pages that we're coming up to. Yeah, but you can see I started to put a lot more onto the page as far as dialogue and story, and it ended up being pretty similar. These are just like a little cruder, and then I worked out the final pages. So I was carrying this around for a long time when I was doing the pencils and all these notes. So this is the process, folks. Like, just get a cheap 25-cent notebook and work it all out ahead of time, and then you won't make all your mistakes on the page. I made all my mistakes here, and sometimes you're crossing things out and reordering things. So just want to do a little flip through here. This is
Cool. Hey, Jake, how's the battery on your phone?
I'm plugged into the charger. Why?
I don't have anything on you right now. I can hear you, but I can't see anything.
Oh, my screen is has got both on there.
Okay.
It says 99%, 97%. I'm uploading as we go. So here, this is the last page. Oh, and you want to see something interesting, Kurt?
Yeah, but I can't see anything.
Oh shoot! Is it coming? Is it going to come back up?
I don't know. Sometimes it does, but I just wanted you aware. So
no, it's right here on my screen. Well, anyway, I found.
There it is. It's back.
Oh, you found it. Okay. Yeah. So this is the last page where where young Turbo just like knifed one of the soldiers and then cuts out the back door, takes off on a little boat, and then sends the boat. But she's actually hiding underneath this little dock here. I had a different page. This says like, look, this was page 28. Make it 27. Switch. You can see here these notes here. This look page 29, which I guess I cut out. But page 29 was one of those pages where it has like the same panel over and over, and maybe this could be a bonus page, but it has the two guys up on the deck, and you can see their on the dock, and you can see their legs, and it says, "I remember when we were just taking over houses, all the maggot towners moved in with each other. Haha, makes it easier later for sweeps. You only get every other house bloodied up. Haw haw. And then, hey, you eaters, lazy shitheads, we're moving out. This is clear. This address is clear." And he throws a cigarette into the water, and it goes, psst. Yeah, yeah. Then clump, clump, I start walking away. And then there's just a moment of silence with the ripples of the cigarette in the water. And then you see some bubbles here on the surface. And that's when young Turbo
It's pretty cool.
surfaces. So
That's cool.
At some point, I just decided, nah, we're just going to have her surface, on the last panel here. Right? Oh, I guess I drew her head in later, maybe. We got a lot more killing to do ahead of us. But yeah, here's so this could be a good resource if we're stuck on lettering, or we're stuck on dialogue. Little scab, they'll toast her in a flash. I I think I winged her. She's steering funny. NG, I'm calling air. She took out one of ours. Yeah, little scab, they'll toast her in a flash. Let's move. We've got another operation to get to. Aircon, this is Squad 6 North requesting a pickup on the Lode River, just north of Bain Street. Little squirrel on a motorboat trying to make a run for it. Just vaporize her when you see her. I don't know, maybe you want to pick her up and have a little fun with her. Yeah, make sure you finish the job. We got a lot more killing ahead of us. Wow. I don't even remember. I haven't heard that dialogue that I wrote since
Wow.
20 something years ago. So there's some good stuff in there. I don't know what made it into into these pages, but I guess we'll find out when we get there. So I'm on page 6, and I'm trying to get our numbering scheme here. And this page looks like it's all done. I'm gonna actually throw this page out. We don't need it anymore. And here we go, and it's all academic now. So this is page 511 as Tough Miss Turbo closes out the bout in just about 5.5. ... No surprises here for the locals. Okay, but all right. So this is going here. This is 512. And I gotta make both of these fit. So I just had a little show and tell. I alluded to it last time, but we didn't work it in.
Where'd you find that?
I found that going through an old closet because we're trying to clean up the house, get the house ready this summer to put it on the market. So that was laying around somewhere else, and it wasn't with my turbo stuff. I have all my turbo notes together.
Now you do.
Yeah, so now it's all back where it's supposed to be. I am gonna have to. We are gonna have to. I think kick this panel out. Quite a lot. It's all academic now. Oh, so yeah, this "and" is supposed to be bold. I don't know if you can tell when I'm doing that. I think you should be able to tell when I'm doing it, but you know that I'm bolding all the "ands," so it's all academic now because we have this guy.
Yeah, but we're really tight on space here, so you're not getting much more in on these.
Really, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to really look for another approach on Turbo Teaser number 2, because yeah, I mean, I have, like, these are some pages. These are the last 2 pages that this is page 3 and 4 from last week that I lettered. And
yeah, it looks so cramped.
It's very cramped. Now, at times, it does end up kind of airing out, and that's only because just however it is. Now, we got to constantly remind ourselves that, you've laid this out with another font, which has its own idiosyncrasies to it, and now you're, trying to load in this other font to make these things happen. So I think we're just going to take it as a lesson in moving forward. I'm still very happy that we're able to hand letter it. So and we're giving it that feeling. So, but yeah, I can already see at times, because this one was really, really tough, and I know I even dragged this out, like like maybe an eighth to a quarter
Well, you have
inch,
all that
probably a
room.
quarter inch.
You have all the. Oh wait, that's where the Duke is, right?
Yeah, well, that's not even the point. It's that the layout text that you're working on right now is set, but you're constantly tweaking it to get into that box.
Yeah.
So we've got to, next time around, and even we might even come back and do another pass on this. That's why I wanted to do the turbo teaser, was to be at this point now instead of at the end of issue 1, and just sort of like starting and stopping and trying to just finalize issue 1. By the time we have issue 1 finished, we'll have 4 turbo teasers, so we'll have a lot of things worked out. So just got to press on. You know what I mean? Just keep doing what you're doing, and
Yeah, I
we'll,
mean, where we have the luxury of more space on the left here, I think we should use it. When I see that, it makes me say like we need to gather it all up in Photoshop, horizontally scale the whole block, and then put it in with just a little bit of air around it.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I'm
I,
even kind of curious to see it not bold. The font you're using is to just not deal with it as a bold font. So
I could share
just to
right now.
see how much air we're getting,
So
because
that
that's
would
the
look
thing I'm starting to find
that
is
would you see that what I just did? That's the
yeah,
diff.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the difference right
yeah,
here. It's
yeah,
it's slightly skinnier. This is comic bold, and this is comic without the bold. You want me to switch to that?
yeah. It doesn't matter. It's still the closeness of the letters,
Yeah, I was.
to the words themselves. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of air breathing inside the words, because you're I think you're tightening it up as much as obviously you can to get into that box. So
Yeah, well, for issue
just like I
two,
said, we'll just
I'm kind of like lettering as we go. Not leaving it to
oh
later.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But for
Yeah, like I
this
said,
issue,
we'll even be so ahead of the game when we get to issue 2 on how we're going to actually box out. So
yeah,
you could even go ahead and letter. You can letter before you give me the scanned pages, if you will, and I then make the boxes and so on and so forth. So we're going to figure it out. I'm not at all worried. Still as excited as so. And I just finished lettering page 4 or 5 of the teasers. So
all right, so here I guess I'm going to another line, and we're just going to extend. And I don't know why this says
yeah,
5.5. We want minutes, right? He's trailing off. We have the room, so let's write minutes. Didn't we already say something about the 5-minute mark on the last page? We wrote, yeah, he goes down at the 5.32 mark. Somebody calls next again, so this might be redundant. It's all academic now. Closing out the ballot interest in just about 5.5 minutes. And is this a system bold? No, this is the bold font. Why is it not system bold? Oh, it is system bold. I gotta take that off. Sometimes it doesn't register. Yeah, this font is a little bit hinky, but it's working. The process is working down the line. Right. So let's start airing this out a little bit more. I think it's important for readability. We're at 11.2, and we have a very tall font. And so I can put back in a little bit of horizontal spacing. And I'm gonna try to give you stuff that looks more like this, where there's some room around there. And fine tune this a little bit. I might even space this apart, and we can even kick this down, kick this over. We got toughness turbo, closes out the bout. And this is about 5.5 minutes. Now everything fits much better. See, we have like a little bit of extra space here this way. So I guess I'll put back in the scaling, so that's not so much.
Yeah. Now, is that spreading? What is that doing when you're doing the scaling? Is that just the whole block of text, or is that the space in between the words?
I could do either. I could do the horizontal scaling or the letter spacing, and I could do it globally or I could do it individually. As you see here, whenever there's like too much white space, I'm going in, and if there's not enough, I'm going in. And I'm just using this. All right, so this is a little bit repetitive. If we wanted to put something else in here, right? We said that she right at the 5:32 mark is when she closes it out, and here he's repeating that. We could say something like closes out the bout handily, using her speed and dexterity. Right? Maybe it'll even fit in the box a little bit better. Or we could just write closes out the bout handily. I don't know why we need to say 5.5 minutes again. As toughness, right? Any opinion?
No, I could go with what. I mean, you have everything in front of you, so.
Well, it's do we want to take out in just about 5.5 minutes? Is that repetitive?
And you said it where again?
In the last page at the bottom, it says at the 5:32 mark is when the guy goes down. I mean, that it might be important to the bettors, like exactly the time and
yeah, I'll leave it. Yeah, it's not hurting anything.
No. No surprises here for the locals, but you out-of-towners may have lost a few creds. Okay, so I'm gonna change creds to P's, I think. Right? The P's are the local currency, right? And I had set this up as saying creds. No surprises here for locals. I'm going to Twitterize. But you may have lost a few P's betting on the late Mr. Payne. Is he laughing like that? I don't know if I like him laughing like that. Right? It sounds like he's revealing that he knew ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I'll just take out the or maybe just one head. It would be nice if he could make this a little more snarky. In any case, please step back Please step to the booth straight back by the yellow light to resolve all wagers. I don't know why in any case it needs to be there. Make all this 11.2. And little fun system bold. Anything that might be system bold. So there's no surprise that they knew she was going to win all along. They knew her well.
Her reputation.
How about for our locals? And I don't want to break up out of towners. Maybe I've lost a few keys on the late Mr. Kane. In any case, he stepped to the booth straight back by the yellow light to resolve all wagers. All right. Yeah, I'm just all right. Let's make it all fit. First thing we'll do is get rid of the word spacing where it's too much. Then we'll do letter spacing where it's too much. Let's zoom in all the way. No surprises here for our locals, but you out-of-towners may have lost a few P's on the late Mr. Payne. I took out betting on. I think the meaning is still there. Tightening up here. Step to the booth straight back by the yellow light. Below the yellow light. It's all wagers. Alright, we're almost fitting. And so last night I was watching, I was on Roku looking for something to watch. And I sat down with some popcorn and I'm like, okay, what am I going to watch? There's nothing on. So I put in like B movies and I was doing some searches. And I found this channel, this app that you download, this channel called Midnight Pulp. And the whole thing is all B movies. And they're all like low budget movies, some really bad. And they want you to pay like $4.99 a month, but there are some free movies that you can watch for nothing. And so I started like one or two of them. They were so bad I didn't get very far.
You could find them on YouTube. You
yeah,
just gotta spend. I don't know if you watch. I mean, you can get everything on YouTube.
Yeah, it's better on YouTube because there's no.
You gotta play around with the spelling. You have to play around with the spelling. Some people they either they misspell it on purpose or create spacings in places to try to dodge the copyright.
Really?
Or they're in another country and their translator spelled it that way.
Right. Yeah. So I checked out this horrible movie. It was called something like Assignment Terror. And then as soon as the movie starts, it's like dubbed from Italian or Spanish or something. 1972.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a whole other title,
Oh yeah.
They do that a lot. And
mm-hmm.
I'm looking. It's supposed to be like the world is terrorized by aliens or something, and I watched for about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and they just were not getting to the story. It was so convoluted. It was like these guys that just like regular people. They had beautiful, gorgeous women, like over and over every scene. But there were just like these guys that were saying, they look like regular humans, but they say that they're from another planet and they're going to take over this planet and we're going to annihilate the humans, so that they have room for their species to come in. And then they proceed to, um, you know, uh, to start killing these like vampires and werewolves and mummies. It was so
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
And then I couldn't even go. I was like, where's the terror? Where's the annihilation? Where's this? And it just ended up being like the craziest thing, like where they're in the lab and they're like, they're telling their evil plan and just, but by the time you get to like yet another commercial break and it tells you how long the break is, like, you have to sit through 7 ads or 6 ads in every break. I just bailed out. So I ended up starting a different movie called like Woman of the Jungle, and it was the same exact thing. You're watching this movie, and it's like, when are we gonna get to the jungle? It's like all these scenes, and
That's exploitation.
it is, and it ended up being like, kind of like a couple of topless scenes. I guess that was the big claim to fame, but they finally get to the jungle, and the like I got sucked in by the poster. You're just flipping
Yep.
through all these little graphics, and it's like this poster. It looks like a Frazetta picture of a woman in the jungle with all these savages all around her. And I guess I just fell asleep before I got to any of that. I did see some savages like kind of crawling around, but she finds like a little baby in the forest, and she just starts breastfeeding it. She just takes off her shirt and starts breastfeeding it. It was the weirdest movie, and I don't even know. Like some of these, it's like, I'm not even gonna bother finishing it. I mean, what's the point? But there is a channel out there, and $5 a month. That's probably worth it to skip all those ads. I got to see if any of those movies are on YouTube, because then you just watch it for nothing. But it's when I sit down with a bowl of popcorn, I just want something to watch. And
There's too much stuff out there.
it's rough out there. I tell you, it is
Yeah,
rough
it's
out
just tough. Back in the day, you just go back to the, like, let's say late 70s. You had no choice. You went to the movie theater on a Friday or Saturday night and you paid your money to see whatever was in there. And that's how these people were making buku bucks, because
there.
they filled the movie theater. They filled it with something that people were going to pay. You
And
know,
but it's like
and
it's
then
the posting.
the key was is if you were making the movie theater money, then they would keep that film, and then you got even more money.
Yeah, some of those films would just play and play and play. They would just play it, and if people liked it, they'd keep playing it. Um, but the real thing is like how often we fall for it over and over and over. There's this great cover graphic. It's this, and that's why they call it midnight pulp. It's the same thing with the pulps, right? It was awful stories, awful writing, but there was this great cover that just promised you the moon and the stars, and people just would buy it. They'd buy a ticket. And then
Yeah, I mean,
even
that's also been what's been going on with comics too. God, how many '80s comics did we purchase that had these great covers? And you got home and you opened that damn thing up and it sucked.
right, and then you never learn. The next time comes around, you do the same exact thing, and you get taken in the same exact way over and over and over, and it just shows you the power of a great cover, a great poster, you know. And that's
All
why
right.
we like to call it exploitation, because you're exploiting the customer, but the word exploitation has a lot more meanings nowadays. So we try to call it B movies. But it's just hysterical how the formula works so perfectly, over and over, to get people to just be hopeful. Well, maybe this movie will be good. Maybe it'll deliver on what it's promising in the poster. You know, even if it only half delivers, I'd be happy, right? but 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 it never delivers, never, ever, ever. And so now you have movie makers like you know, I don't know, like Tarantino or whatever, but they're like self-aware of that, and they do deliver. You know, more. If you have a budget, you could actually deliver. Some action and some gore, some, or even if your thing is like sex, you can do all that, but um, people have to understand the context, the backstory of these movies. They were made in days, on a shoestring budget. You know, Sometimes they were owned by a theater. Sometimes it was just an individual movie theater owner that would say, "Hey, go make this movie. Here's like 10 grand, and go make a movie in a week." And just go get some floozies and go get some, hobos and floozies. And that's what it was.
Floozies and hobos.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. You do need a leading man and a leading woman, somebody that. But then, you know, banging out a script. I mean, it was all so flimsy. It was all so flimsy. So, all right, this is gonna have to fit. Hey, stick around. And hey, stick around. Don't touch that dial. And so, then we get into the promotion, which is, the people that used to make those great commercials. I mean, it doesn't just stop with the poster. The poster is very important. Sometimes the
You mean the
poster would.
trailers?
Right. Well, this is trailers, but then there was also those audio commercials that would play on local radio.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I have some my friend Rick. I talk about a lot. He has some of those rare 45s. Um, you know, where it's just like maybe like three of them on a 7-inch, and they're highly collectible, and they're amazing. Like what was it like whore shanty, or like slut shanty, loose women with no morals, in the it's a small town, and it would just be like that over and over. Like there was this whole promise of like sex in the streets and crazy action. Sometimes they say you'll be on the edge of your seat. You won't believe your eyes. I mean, just like the hype and the insanity is great. Um, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to deliver a comic that has actual action, story, ass kicking. Um, something you could sink your teeth into. Um, and also planning the B movie She Devil series, which is kind of like an on again, off again project that we are going to be putting some time into. It's just a script, and maybe we'll like take some time and do some promotional art on that too, right? You were talking
Yeah,
about it.
we already
You were
have
talking about
a.
doing a teaser. We were also talking about the possibility of getting an artist. So we're very open about
Yeah.
how that's going to go. But I have we have a great concept cooking where we put some B movies into a comic format, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I was just thinking about a little bit, when I lay down to sleep at night, I just think a little bit about, the next movie and the next movie. Because the first movie, Hypnomania, is all kind of like planned out already. But the next movie is going to be called Death Angels in Bondage. And I'm thinking that one's going to be um, about a female motorcycle gang that makes enemies out of the local male motorcycle gang, but also the local male um, suburban, men, but because they seduced a couple of their wives, um, and and just the fact that they're strong women, is intimidating, and so like all these forces are going to line up. But I want to make it like even more crazy, like a Russ Meyer movie, with just things, the elements coming out and just keep coming out and just like heightening up the crazy. So I think I was thinking about a like a voodoo character named Madame Juju, and she's not only a character in the movie, but she's also a character outside of the movie that's going to endanger the cast in the epilogue, you know, and I think also it's also possible to break format and maybe have something happen right in the middle of the movie, as the movie's being screened, for something to break out. So I'm keeping that in mind too. But as you
Yeah,
can
well, the
see,
whole sweet spot to B movie She Devils is that the movie, the players, actresses being the star focus, and the real life, and that kind of blurring line, or taking that line and blurring it as we want to in a comic book.
yeah,
So I think that's the thing that has me so excited about B movie She Devil's potential.
yeah, it's going to be funny because it's going to be like a real take on B movies, and but also like it's 2023. Let's come up with some real fun, you know, things
Well,
to do.
speaking of the master of B movies, I just got this in the mail. I pulled the trigger. I'm still rolling through Big Bosoms and Square Jaws, the definitive life of Russ Meyer, and I had to pick this up because there's a very short biography in
Mm-hmm.
here, basically just of all of his making films, and the reason I bring this up is because he really works with a set of people. The primary people he starts with are actually his old army buddies from the
Yes.
166th Camera Corps. So Bill Tease is Mr. Tease in the first one, and then a
Mm-hmm.
guy named James Ryan is the handyman and even the handyman.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does fall in with some actors um, that basically play like the old man, and he always gets a square jaw, masculine lead, and then of course you have your buxom female sirens, if you will. But this is a real like breakdown of just all of the material, the press junkets. It was just something to give a whole lot more, and a lot of decent photographs. So, but he was a character, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that
and a very I had heard that he was a very controlling human being, but I just got through uh, um, the immoral Mr. T's and that process that he went through, and how he kind of ends up screwing his best friend because there's money at the end of that 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 waterfall for that the immoral Mr. T's causes, and
Yeah, that was
he kind
that
of
was
screws
in.
he screws a lot of people, but he's working with a lot of like shady people, or just people that are outside of the let's say the contemporary movie making business, and like what was his name, Peter something or Paul something, who owned a burlesque show that Russ had shot. It was called the French Peep Show film, and it was just burlesque performances. They were static shot film, but
Hmm.
it was just the performers coming out. Tempest Storm, Betty Page, and such. And that guy was just, I mean, really cranking that thing all over the country. But when gold was stricken with immoral Mr. T's, Russ and Eve, his wife, Eve Mayer, um, they start cutting people out real quick.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
it
I think
was
I
it,
I think
it it was all business for him. It was all business from him, and a little disappointing on the side of like the hyperbolic sense of a character that you don't know anything about, and then when you start finding out how not boring but just scripted he was, and how he was telling people who is Pat. I'm trying to make my way around it because I'd like to do something in the way of a biography comic of him. So
yeah. I mean, the thing is like, I mean, I'm just looking at that cover. That book. They really didn't go with like any kind of like exploitive cover. They just have him with a camera in front of
yeah,
a
well,
tree.
it's just info. It's not, like I said, I think there's like only like 18 pages of biography, which is just the process, what was going on in making the films, who was
Yeah,
involved, how much money he made, what theaters, what courts, in what counties or states he was dragged into, because he was always in trouble. That was with someone, somewhere, and a lot of times he did it on purpose. He knew he could basically hold it off with an attorney, but the promotion in the newspapers was all free,
right.
because as soon as you heard that there was this movie that was going to get played down at the local art house theater, um,
Yeah, that
guys
they
would line up.
yeah, that's what the commercials used to say. The commercials used to say banned in 5 jurisdictions, you know, and
Yep.
and and it would only help him. But I don't know about the sexiness of a bio about him. I mean, it's really about the people around him, and the cast, and the stories. And I mean, he's just the guy.
Hmm.
It's the ideas that came out of his head. I mean, he had some very novel ways of presenting film, and he changed. I mean, he's credited with launching multiple genres, right? The roughies, the nudie cuties, they're all attributed to him. Immoral Mr. T's is credited as being the first nudie cutie, where you start to see some titillating stuff in movies, even though it's actually not that explicit as a movie, and
Yeah. That's
you know,
voyeurism.
and then he also talks about how he always kind of skirted around actual pornographic movies because he wanted to avoid the mob, he wanted to stay independent, and
Yes.
he was
Yes.
also trying to stay out of jail, because they were coming after
Yep.
that kind of stuff. So he really like handled the balancing act in such a way where he not only like negotiated it, and survived and kept on, making his art, but he also made fun of it. Like he made it part of the art, like those
Yes.
voiceovers, that he would do, where you had to have some like, redeeming, social commentary. He was just like
That was a
totally
preacher.
making fun of all that kind of stuff. Like, the copy that he wrote, and then the announcer with a deep voice. It was just, it was just something to
There's a
see.
lot there. There's a lot to unpack. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm curious about is, one of the ideas I have is I would love to do it in a cherry Pop Tart Archie comic kind of Larry Wells style. I'd like to see it done in that kind of style, almost trying to also push and skirt it up to a an R. Crumb presentation. But yeah, this is something totally like on free time. In the evenings, I usually just read um, if I'm feeling up to it, and and this is what I'm reading right now. So, but I'll keep you. And I'm actually
Yeah, I mean, I
bef-
love the topic, but my interpretation would be, obviously the B movie She Devils, where you're making a fictional
yeah.
version.
Well, that's how B movie She Devils got started with us. Was
Yeah.
that we both during an episode proclaimed our love for uh, B movies and the Russ Meyer specifically, in that we had both worked on our own sort of like shell character that was based on Russ. We
Hmm.
have Rube Maynor for
Rube Maynard, yeah.
B movie She Devils. So from what I'm experiencing on working with you on B movie She Devils, I might be throwing ideas out and they're not getting, we're not attaching them to B movie She Devils. So I want to see what I can do with them on
Right.
my own.
Well, it's yeah,
And there's nothing
it's
stopping me from bringing that, that coming around, to our Doom comics.
yeah, it's a Doom magazine. Yeah, it's a great topic, about him and his genesis, his backstory, and then how the stuff on the screen you know, ends up there. I'm not finding.
Are you still on page? You're on the second to last page. No, you're on the last page, right?
Yeah, but I'm getting stuck on this panel here, because I'm not sure what goes here, and I don't have a note for 531. I see 532, five. All this dialogue. 533, 53. Oh, it's Oh, I got to type it in. It's handwritten here. Look,
No, I was
it's
ready to
not in
say. I was
it's
going to
not in
check
the
my
doc.
notes.
It's
Okay.
here. But then why is it crossed out? I keep remembering the things that are crossed out. It's crossed out for a reason.
Not needed
Um,
anymore.
Let me see if the word unbridled appears anywhere. And yes, it does. It's right here. So, oh, it was right in front of me the whole time. Okay. So this has to fit in
You
here.
good?
All right. So now I got my work to do. Um.
All right.
So here she's grabbing a drink and she says, "Hey, Dirk, give me another one of these fuckers." And just saying it on my YouTube channel on our YouTube channel right now is taking us to another place, right? So what do we say instead? Another one of these bad boys? What do they say in the future?
Yeah, well, that's something we've been topically bouncing around with ever since we started this Making Turbo podcast. Is the language itself. What how has language either progressed or digressed? We're not done anything different than what's being experienced
Yeah, right.
right
Well, we
now.
have to make the
You know,
language because this is we're communicating in
well,
2023.
we don't want to call things weird names that people are like, what the heck is a blah blah blah.
Right.
I don't feel like we need to do that. But I think the association of words to items and how those people use it, like peas, for instance, I think that's funny because not when people read deeper into the story, they find out that they're radioactive peas, and then they're not actually something you would eat, right?
Right.
So I love that kind of dynamic in language than just trying to use another word to describe another thing, a thing that's already being described. But slang is also the thing. One of the things I loved, I don't know if you ever got into William Gibson cyberpunk novels. um, Burning Chrome is a short story collection that I think everybody should read if they're into science fiction. Johnny Mnemonic, which was a movie that was had Keanu Reeves in it, is a classic crappy B movie, which is it's got Ice-T in it. It was directed by
Right.
Robert Longo, who's a famous contemporary artist, New York. But
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, they mixed slang from languages, and one of the biggest mixtures was between Japanese and English, and I
Sure.
think German, or French, because Gibson's Canadian. So I always like that too. I like when somebody is using another culture's, like mierda, you know,
Well,
shit,
you also had that in Kubrick, Clockwork Orange, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
but no, that was a whole language. There's a
Like, really?
glossary in the back of Clockwork
Oh,
Orange.
really? No, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yes, there's a whole glossary.
What do you remember? I
Yes.
remember me. I remember the Droogies, and
Yes.
yeah, he had a lot of
Well,
great
they
stuff.
drank they drank a hallucinogenic milk. So because they would go to the Corona milk bar, and they would have those big plastic sculptures that would dispense mother's milk,
Right.
and
Oh, you sound like you
of
actually read the
course,
book.
and
I only saw the movie.
in college, yeah, in college I did.
Right.
I
Good
was
for you.
very obsessed with that movie.
Yeah, the movie was
My
because the
my
movie.
my roommate my roommate in college was like a theater minor. He was an illustrator, graphic designer, illustrator major, but he would do all of the extracurricular movie courses. But we went every Sunday, my buddies and I, to see a movie in Baltimore every Sunday during college.
Hmm.
We would go to the Inner Harbor, Charles Street Theater. I think we went out to Owen Mills Mall, maybe something like that. But we always saw a movie on Sunday, and yeah, we were fanatics about stuff like that. Um, and we of
Yeah,
course would watch films like 100 times over and everything. So,
yeah. Clockwork
but
Orange
we were big Kubrick fans.
was really provocative, and it was meant to elicit a very visceral reaction in the viewer. I remember, I think I was kind of young when I saw it. I don't, like maybe around 12 or 13 or something, and it just it just sits with you because it's just the ultra violence they called it, right? And
Ultra
it
violence.
was a statement, right? It was a statement about the decline of youth, and like no empathy, and then finally, but it also had like kind of like punishment, right? Where the guy goes to jail and he gets deprogrammed, and just amazing stuff. Like what a tale, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
So yeah, there. So I just remember that the use of language, they kind of brought you in. I think it was narrated in the first person, by the Malcolm McLaren character. I don't know, the name of the character you
Malcolm
referenced.
McDowell.
Oh,
Yep,
Malcolm
yep,
McDowell, right?
yeah,
but
yeah.
but the name,
Malcolm
the,
McLaren is the
Sex
agent
Pistols. Yeah.
and Sex Pistols. Yeah.
Yeah. But that story, and it had all kinds of commentary on stuff that we really did come to see a little bit of, right? Like in terms of like the programming that the society is doing to people, right? I mean, they exaggerated it by like making him like stare at things and pulling his eyeballs apart and stuff. But that we are all getting programmed, in a way, and that we're getting like both sensitized and desensitized to violence and and mayhem and harm in a lot of different ways. Really, a really amazing thing. I don't know how that came up. I think that just came up because they had some use of language. But getting back to that, what do we want? What do we want to say here? Hey, Dirk, give me another one of these, will you? Uh, and I have to figure out here, Miss Turbo. May I speak to you for a moment? This one says this one's going to be excuse me, and this one seems a little lost. Why is he saying excuse me?
Yeah, we talked about this before. I kind of had the feeling that you were just kind of breaking it up. Like it's just a random dude who just basically says, "Excuse me," you know.
Right, but
Can I get
it's
another?
supposed to be this guy that's saying excuse me, because this guy comes up behind her, and then here, say, Big Mama, how'd you get to be so dang tough? And then where does this go? Oh, this is in the next panel. Okay, this goes down here. So maybe you should take this tail. Can you do this? Can you take this tail and stick it up towards this guy?
Let me make a note.
Yeah, I'll make a note. I'll make a note. No, I got it. I'll make a note. Make tail point.
Well, I'll do it right now. I'll do the edit right now. Here it is.
You do it right now?
I'll do it right now, sir.
Instant
Heck yeah, and I also don't want to forget. Look like a dummy. Kurt, I asked you to make this change. Why did it happen?
Yeah, because this guy looks like
he's looking... you some paper.
This guy looks like he's looking forward, and then I also don't like this guy. Looks like he's looking forward too. He doesn't look like he's looking at her, but he could be looking forward, I guess. There's a couple of imperfections here. So now I'm getting this down system size. So I'm unsystem bolding, and we still need. All right, so this is finished. I'm hit save. Hey, Dirk, give me another one of these. Fuckers is just such a versatile word. You've heard that. That thing. The word about that announcer voice thing about the word fuck.
What?
There's this video. It's been around for a long time. About the versatility of the word fuck. I don't know why I'm cursing so much right now, but and then
we're demonetized right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to keep my language not so salty.
Good luck.
And then what's up with this This won't even fit.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's just write another one of these, will you?
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Have to curse. She doesn't have to curse.
But she just killed somebody. She's full of endorphins and energy.
You don't find that to be cliche?
Yeah, I do. Give me another one.
I mean, it's like you have to do it. You have to do it because
She's
That's
exerting her
what people
primacy.
expect. Yeah, but why
Uh,
couldn't she be like the strong and silent type? Like she doesn't say a lot
she is.
because she thinks she thinks it's just a big waste of time.
Right, I know. Well, this is basically the first line that she speaks in the whole history of the trilogy, whatever. So maybe I didn't think about it. Hey Dirk, give me another one. I mean, when she says "Hey Dirk," it just shows you that she's familiar with the place. She's been here a lot. She's a regular, right? Um, Give me another one of these. It shows that she's a drinker. Um, or she's not. She's not shy. Um, and then the ah, yeah, the ah seems a little bit much. Let's take out the ah, and then we'll move this down. Now it all fits.
All right, just a heads up, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. But I
Yeah.
definitely want you to finish. You have to finish this page, so we're going to stay on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you full screen, so the pressure's on, because
Okay.
I really don't want to get anything else going because I want to keep. Actually, I think I'm going to rescan this page here. So let me try scanning. No, maybe I shouldn't because I'll lose some Wi-Fi. Damn it! But because there's so much more to comics than just drawing and writing. There's scanning and photoshopping and cleaning up and changing the levels. But one thing I do want to share is this. So this is page 7, which will be the first page in teaser number 2, which I have got to start throwing down my um, graphite water soluble graphite, which kind of dirties the paper and gives me a gray, kind of a duotone type shade because I don't like black ink watered down; it gets too splotchy. But I had me a little accident. I did this on the original sheet, and this is the original sheet, and you'll notice it is all ripped up. I unfortunately had some this liquid mask. This liquid mask was on the paper that I flipped this over onto.
Yeah.
And basically these areas pulled it down. Now I want to talk about two things in what I believe to be a very important thing in making art. And we're doing this non-computer, or the computer we're using it less than a 10% part of our process. So we're doing this, I guess, what they refer to as analog. But the idea is that you're gonna make mistakes, and it's okay. And what that means is, I had this page scanned, which means I just had to print it out. You just go back over and everything. One of the things I find to be a very tough thing to break away from in people's art that only work in digital is Control Z really doesn't do you any justice, because you have too many choices, and you can, with too many choices, be paralyzed with indecision, and you really just don't take chances. And art is all about taking chances, and taking chances is all about making mistakes. So with that, I have it. I've worked on another piece with the water soluble, but I ended up buying this gray silt mat. It's a plastic mat you would do for cooking that actually covers my entire thing here. So now I'm not going to have that problem of
Of
going
spillage in the
through
village.
that.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping this page, this busted page, because I'm going to always be referring to it as, something that I experienced as an artist. And yes, it did upset me, but it didn't upset me to the point of being disenfranchised and quitting and oh, screw this, I should start doing everything digital so I can Control Z my way out of everything. Nah, this is This is really what it means to be an artist: is taking chances, risk, and making, most importantly, the accidents that end up creating you as a creative person. So that's
We
my
wouldn't have
PSA: make mistakes. Get out there and make some mistakes, people.
we wouldn't have the
Don't
word
do everything
motel.
digital.
Right.
What's that?
We wouldn't have the word motel if not for an accident.
Why?
The sign painter was supposed to make motor hotel, but he didn't plan at all, and so he just made motel, and then it stuck.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
Okay, so
there's plenty of things.
yeah, I mean, yeah, so many things. It's like also in music, right? So many things are accidental. You hit the wrong note, like, hey, that sounded pretty interesting. Um, so I'm getting through this. These things are moving, but I'm just gonna ignore that. And then here, this is the last one of these. But first, please do it. So let's modify text 0 and 11.2 instead of 2.6, and no scaling, no tracking, and now let's see what really fits. First thing is letter spacing, bring it in. Next thing is horizontal spacing. What's going on? Bring it in. And does it fit? What's going on here? Why does it look so weird? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. But first, please direct your attention. This is not fitting. But first, please direct your attention. I don't like hyphenating. To the left side of our arc. Okay, this will work. Now it all fits. And behold, one of the marvelous prizes our combatants will be fighting for this evening. Then we're going to see Trophy Girl. Bathed in some kind of light. Yeah, so it's funny, if you look at the history of some of these Marvel superheroes, how they started out as bad guys and ended up being, major popular good guys. Talking about the Scarlet Witch, Medusa. Um, I don't mean like Submariner, is he good, is he bad? I mean like they started out as villains, and then they ended up being, popular characters. And they said, hey, let's just make them, an Avenger. So I bring that up because the Trophy Girl, I originally scripted her dialogue to be very combative with Turbo, right? And Turbo was a little bit also maybe like flirty, not flirty, but catcally, like hey little honey, like hey little sweet thing,
Like a
and
predator.
yeah, or hitting on, right? Like aggressive, more aggressive. If I would have known you were the prize. So how do we want to handle this, being that they're going to be so important to each other by the end? I mean, this is a very famous, vehicle in writing. That I'm thinking of like Cheers with Shelley Long and Ted Danson, right? They made them kind of like love hate, you know. they would really be at each other's throats half the time. But then they would,
That's a good point. But the reason they never got together was they felt like they were going to sacrifice too much of themselves to be the other person's partner. They had their own sense of freedom. They had their own sense of focus. Like, because Shelley wanted to be an actress.
It's also like Genie and Master and Tony. God, what was it? I Dream of Genie, right? Like what they always had them flirting and on the cusp of being together, but never actually consummating.
Yeah, but that's not. They weren't equals in the sense she was a figment of his imagination in a sense. You know what I mean? Like she wasn't. That was really for the men. You know what I mean? That's like a show that made it on the air just so men would get on and watch television with their wives or something like that. Because that's.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the same goes for same goes for Cheapers. Same goes for I mean.
But it has more of an equal divide, don't you think? It has more of an equal divide between men and women and their own sense of importance or desires in the world or accomplishments they want to have. Or
yeah, but it also shows like the spunk and the the pushback by the female. Like I mean, not Jeannie, because Jeannie was just like this idealized slave basically, right? Like that's her master.
Genie.
Right.
She was a
Genie
genie.
And the master. She called him master,
Right.
Right. So that, that's kind of.
Which back then every man wanted to hear out of his wife.
Right. But that was the great thing about I Dream of Genie. Here, you had, the master, and how did he have such restraint not to just like, ravage her every time, I mean,
well, maybe it happened off the air.
Right, or it didn't happen at all because they wanted to make people nuts, right? It's like a horror movie where you put the gun on the table and the guy is fighting the monster and he won't pick up the gun off the table. Go get the go get the gun off the table. And you have everybody screaming at the screen, and so that's the genius of it, So I think for us, I think we need to be very careful. We're just about to start the dialogue between them, and I do like them going hard at each other in the beginning. I like that because she's going to be resistant to Turbo, for a long time. Until she realizes that her life depends on Turbo, saving her over and over. And vice versa, right? We have Turbo getting saved by Trophy, as early as issue 2, where she backs up the van. But that is going to be, in a major spoiler, that's going to be the very end of the thing in issue 6 when she's fighting the last pit fight. She's going to get saved by Trophy. That'll be Trophy's.
Right. So I'm going to bust in and say we should wrap this up because I'm kind of getting a little worried about the stability of Riverside and going too long.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that you're only halfway through this second to the last page, so I'm assuming we're going to pick up, or are you going to be able to, after we record, spend some time on your own and finish off this page to get it to me, so I have something to letter next week?
Yeah, I can keep going here. I just lost the excuse me, but this.
Well, we still have to move to a comics that influence episode.
Yeah, well, I can work a little while you're talking, but if you go first, but I'm working through it. Yeah, like I said, this one was a little heavy on type.
Yeah. Well, the next one is too. I mean, the last page is not as, but close to it. I mean, there's 12. This was 14. This is 12 balloons. Because there's dialogue between Turbo and Trophy. So, but all right. Well, look, thank you so very much if you've made it this far. I don't know if you're actually watching us or just listening to us, but we're making a comic book every Sunday, Jake and I. And right now we're working on a 8-page hand printed or home printed um, teaser, we're calling it, so we can get it out in people's hands so they get some proof that we're actually going to get this thing accomplished. It helps us make milestones too, as we're also learning that lettering is going to probably have some adjustments down the road as we figure things out. But other than that, thank you so much. We have a community tab, lots of polls, some Q&A. People have also been making suggestions on books to do for our comics that influence, and actually making comments on the books that we have reviewed. So we have a little bit of a community going along, and we're building as we go along. But other than that, that's all I have. What do you got, Jake?
No, that's it. Tune in. I can't wait to see what you're going to bring, and I can't wait to see what I'm going to bring for comics that influence. And then tune right back here to the making of Turbo Pit Fighter as we plow through this day after day, week after week.
No, it's only on Sundays. So,
right.
All right, Jake. We'll see ya.
Later, man.